This episode is brought to you by Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate is the world's biggest coffee lover because we love all the ways you enjoy. Wait. Coffee Mate can't love coffee more than me. I'm a foodie. I went to Kyoto just for a nitro matcha latte. What? Oh, I have to finish the ad. Coffee Mate, for the love of coffee.
What is Cafe Mocha? Cafe Mocha is experts, celebrities.
What's up? This is Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yours truly, Idris Elba.
This is Fantasia.
This is In Vogue.
This is India Ari.
So much more. All from a woman's perspective.
What flavor are you, baby?
This is Cafe Mocha.
Cafe Mocha Radio from a woman's perspective with comedian Loni Love, rap legend Yo-Yo, and I'm the producer Angelique. October London's Head Back to Your Place spent nearly 2 months in the top spot on the R&B chart. October London is our guest. He's coming up on Cafe Mocha. Loni Love, what's happening in these streets?
We got a lot of fall shows coming finally.
Oh, good. I'm sick of, I'm just
we got a lot
of stuff to watch.
Well, one thing we're going to have, we got a Black Bachelor, another one. They're going to try it again. ABC had the first Black Bachelor, which was Matt James, and that didn't, end up too great. There was a lot of racial issues, and he ended up getting with this girl, and she had I believe a plantation something, and they're still together, but this time they're going to try it again, and his name is Grant Ellis. He has been named as the leading man for season 29. He's a day trader that appeared on the Jenny Tran season of The Bachelorette. ABC announced it. He's 30 years old, and he's going to be getting with the ladies. So we're going to see, this is always complicated, having a Black Bachelor. I think because, you have the mixing of the cultures and it's just, I don't know, it's like he's light bright. So I don't know if the producers, this is what I'm wondering, do they say, well, let's have a certain number of Black women versus a certain number of white women, or if they're just like, whatever, go for it, all this kind of stuff. But
I'm sick of Black Friday. I'm sick of blackouts.
Black sheep.
Right. It's just so much. I'm just like, what are they doing?
It's like, we'll see. But they do, he will be the new Bachelor. So we don't even have to say Black Bachelor. He just happens to be Black. We also have a Golden Bachelorette who is going to be on this season. And actually, I'm going to be on the show.
Shut up.
Her name is Joan. She's a wonderful woman. She's like in her 65, something like that. And the reason why I do mention this with the Bachelors, because they have a number of Black older Golden Bachelors for her to date as well. So it's I guess, answering my own question, if they do it for the Bachelor and Bachelorette, then they have to do it for the Black Bachelor. So, but the Golden Bachelorette will be on this fall, and it's coming in December. But also there are a few other...
Excuse me.
Yes.
You said I'm going to be on it, and then you didn't elaborate.
Yeah, I will be helping Joan with her dudes. I will be judging a talent show.
Okay.
So I get to meet some of the guys that Joan has, and they're doing a talent show to show their love to Joan, and it comes out really, really cute. So it was me and the host Jesse Palmer and Joan, and we had a great time. And they only picked me for the Golden Bachelorette to help. I guess they trying to tell me something.
Have you guys watched the Auntie podcast on Zeus?
I tend not to watch that type of ratchetness, but there is a podcast where there are very mouthy women on the Zeus network. Actually, as a matter of fact, do you watch it, Yo-Yo? Do you find it entertaining?
My daughter introduced me to it and wanted me to watch a episode, and I was just humiliated by the whole concept of it. But like I said, when I'm looking for some ratchet behavior, I watch it, but it cringes my skin.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
So it's three moms and they just go at it. I mean, and not they don't even get a chance to interview the guests without, I think most of their tea is them going against each other.
Yeah. And see, they had the game come on and they get
Oh,
raunchy.
did you see that?
I didn't see it. I see clips of it. That's what I see. I see clips of it.
Adi said, I
And
don't watch that.
yeah, it's Tokyo Tony, Kalissa Saffold, and Tia Kemp. They bring their big personalities and unique viewpoints to the talk show podcast space, and it's called Aunt T Podcast. They so far they've had the game on. They had Miss Netta and Charles.
That's the one I
Um,
watched, Miss Netta and Charles. And how about I didn't know Miss Netta was a man the
you
whole time? And I'm watching the whole interview, and my daughter's like, no, mom, she's a man. I'm like, oh, I get it. just
you
just
couldn't
in their
tell?
bedroom. I mean, I try not to judge.
Okay, you know.
But
Um,
another Love Island is a real good one that my daughter has me watching.
oh,
So if you get,
everybody loves Love Island
yeah, I
except for
really
me.
do like it. Yeah, the one that was out of the country now, they just did a USA one. It's
Yeah,
just fun to
it's a
watch.
hit show. And also for fall, my man David Allen Greer has a new sitcom coming out called St. Denis Medical. That'll be on NBC. You also have Papa's House, which will be on CBS, stars Damon Wayans and his son Damon Wayans Jr. The Neighborhood is coming back. The Equalizer, Lopez versus Lopez, which is George Lopez's sitcom. These are all in October. And of course, Abbott Elementary is coming back in October. So there's also a lot of game shows that are coming back. I just did a slew of shows for Pictionary. And also, I will be on Hollywood Squares, which is going to have a prime time viewing on CBS. Drew Barrymore is the center square. Nate Burleson is the host. He's that handsome ex-NFL player that is currently on CBS this morning. And there's a slew of celebrities.
Mhm.
If you guys don't have Netflix, if you don't, want to pay, look at Tubi. Get the app because they have a bunch of great movies and they have a bunch of original movies that are hilarious. But I saw Menace to Society. And I saw you, Yo-Yo. That was you, right?
That was me.
I was like, look at Yo-Yo coming through the door talking. But I finally sat down and saw it. And when I say the Hughes brothers did a wonderful, that's a classic movie. It was beautifully shot. It told a story. And it was this is what I'm talking about when we talk about trying to do a project that's meaningful, that means something. Yo, how did it feel to be a part of something so historic
The,
culturally?
the Hughes brothers did my Black Pearl video, and they were just getting started, and they were telling us about this project that they had. So they invited me down and got me in, and started really my love for acting and really getting involved. So I
Well,
loved it. It's such a classic movie, and every little piece that I've been in all the movies, Boys in the Hood, Minister Society, Sister Act 2, you name it. It was a pleasure to be a part of something that turned out to be historic.
it's always good to see you. And just a reminder, Cafe Mocha is a sponsor of the First Look Film Festival, HBCU First Look Film Festival. We're taking submissions right now. If you're an HBCU filmmaker, go to hbcufirstlookfilmfest.com. I'm probably messing it up, but just go to cafemocha.com and put in your submissions today. This is Cafe Mocha.
Thanks for the update, Loni. October London, next on Cafe Mocha.
Standing in solidarity from a woman's perspective. It's Cafe Mocha.
It's Cafe Mocha with Loni Love, Yo-Yo, and Angelique on the line. She's got an upcoming album called Legacy. devoted to her dad. We've got Selena Johnson on the line. Welcome back to Cafe Mocha.
Thank you for having me. Hello, ladies. How's it going?
Oh,
Hello,
excellent.
beautiful.
You know, I love your new single, Selena. I've been all on your Instagram and I've been listening to it on Apple. Black Balloon.
Yay.
I mean, it's just a wonderful, wonderful single. And this is dedicated to your dad. Let's talk about the iconic blues singer, Seal Johnson, your dad.
Well, my dad, he passed away in 2022, the top of 2022. And I kind of watched him, in his last days, like the last maybe 5 or 6 months of his life, we were with him, kind of watching him go through the transition process. So that was kind of tough on me, but it kind of sparked a lot of emotional things that I hadn't really dealt with in terms of his and I relationship. And so I kind of, in hindsight, just looking back on it while I was actually in the process of going through that, I realized that there were so many things about his career that I wanted to honor that I have not yet been able to honor. And that's just his pure gift and the fact that he gave me mine, that he was responsible for me having mine. And we spent so much time at each other's throats or arguing a lot, that I didn't get to be able to be a daddy's girl and just kind of really revel in the fact that him and I are the only ones that had this gift. Obviously, my grandfather had the gift, and my Uncle Jimmy was another Blues Hall of Famer on his side of the family. But as far as I was concerned, of my sisters, my sisters and my brother, I'm the only one that gift was passed down to. So my dad was a blues singer as well as an R&B singer. He's from Holland Springs, Mississippi, so it started off as blues, but then he moved to Chicago where it transitioned from blues to R&B, and then he went and signed a record deal with High Records in Memphis and Al Green and Ann Peoples and, Otis Clay, and that's where his career started. And he went through so much trauma and so much turmoil in the industry. It reminds me of kind of the stuff that we as artists go through, especially myself, that I've gone through. And so with this Legacy album, I wanted to kind of merge the two and kind of mirror the two and honor my father at the same time. He's one of the most sampled artists of all time in terms of hip hop and R&B. And so I'll be sampling his music with every single track to honor him as well. And Black Balloon is an ode to that. He has a song called Black Balloon on his album, Is It Because I'm Black?, which was an album that was shelved by the record label because it was too racially charged, they said. It came out during, the civil rights movement, and they shelved it because they didn't like the lyrical content, But, I have the opportunity to bring that back to life and to bring it back to life. Unfortunately, we're still dealing with some of the stuff from civil rights, so it's still relevant, So Black Balloon was one of my favorite records, and the meaning behind it and how it was positive and uplifting. And I just wanted to do something like that because I just feel like, I'm not saying that negativity has not been in our world, because negativity is going to be negativity is going negativity.
It's going negative.
But
it's going negative.
I just listen. It's going negative. So, but I just feel like it's time for our people to have something to just play, to just have a good time, to just be happy about, Definitely. And so that's where Black Balloons was birthed from.
It is such a motivational. It's for the listeners, and we'll be playing it. Black Balloon is motivational. It includes the tracks of her dad that was recorded back in 1969. So to be able to mix it with, and she modernizes Selena, she modernizes it so that it doesn't sound like it's 1969. But can I tell you, I was feeling kind of down, and then I ended up listening to Black Balloon and it picked me up. Was that the purpose of you creating this type of song?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I released it during Black History Month. And you know how at the top of the year, it was a whole bunch of like truth telling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or what the people was taken down to the social media, honey, and to the world and just telling it like a TI is. And here's the thing, we're not mad at that either, right? But it can cause a negative narrative. And because Black people already deal with enough, we needed a little balance. You know what I'm saying? That record is just balanced. I wanted it to be one of those records where every time you put it on, you're proud of your heritage, you're proud of your culture. Whether you're Black or white, actually, if you're feeling down, you can continue to motivate yourself by saying, keep rising to the top, Black balloon. You know, you can just keep going in whatever it is that you do. You can keep rising to the top through opposition. We're always going to go through opposition. We're always going to be in spaces where it's negativity, where it's struggle, but it's not enough. Hey, that's all right. Just keep turning up. Just keep rising to the top. You know what I'm saying? So we used to have records like that back in the day, more of them. You know what I'm saying? Like records like, as long as you keep your head to the sky. Remember
Come
that?
on now.
We used to have some records. Remember, I am everyday people.
Yes,
we used to have records that just make you happy, that uplift you. I mean, come on, Frankie Beverly and Maze. So I wanted to have a record that did that, and I wanted it to come from the energy of my father's era. You know what I'm saying? Because that's actually where a lot of our trauma stem from our parents and stem from, you know, those times. So what can we create? What can we make? What kind of light can we bring from darkness? You know what I'm saying? So that was just really my focus. Like, we somewhere, we doing too much. I put on the Instagram, child, I'm mess around and go cry. You know, you be depressed after looking at social media. I was like, I got to do something, because this is doing too much.
It's Cafe Mocha, Loni Love, Yo-Yo. I'm Angelique. On the line, Selena Johnson. We've been talking about her new single, Black Balloon. I want to shift gears a little bit, and we wanted to talk a little bit about autism with you.
So my son, who's 13, was diagnosed with autism when he was 4. So obviously, Autism Awareness Month is something that is a staple in our home, and something that we are going to celebrate forever. And I think it's so important for them to be highlighted, because when we were little, in my day coming up, we didn't have that for kids. Kids were all clumped into the same class, no matter what kind of spectrum, you know, where they were on the spectrum, and they were all called LD. And most kids made fun of them. And with learning disabilities, everybody in that class had learning disabilities, which was absolutely incorrect, because children who have Asperger's, most of them are geniuses.
Right.
Absolute geniuses. So, and there are children who have autism who are absolute genius. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, it's very much like any other cause that has grown from one thing to the next. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, Black History Month, and, you know, now it's Juneteenth. And even though it's all a mess, Black history should be every day. But I think that autism awareness is good. It's great. It's awesome, because people need to really understand that there are people that learn differently from them. It doesn't mean that they are different. It means that they learn different. And then there are people who actually are on the spectrum that have stronger diagnosis. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some are nonverbal. So it's really good to bring awareness to that, because people are not educated about autism and disabilities, and learning disabilities, if you want to call it, or special needs, rather. I don't even like to call it learning disability, because I don't even think it's true. I think a lot of our kids have been on the spectrum. A lot of the people that we know to this day were probably on the spectrum, and there was nothing there to support or facilitate their way of learning. And so that's why having awareness is so important, so that we can continuously grow in terms of support and needs for these babies, for these children, for these grown-ups, you know, all the way into their grown life. and for other people to have a better understanding of autism and how autism is perceived. Because if not, then you have these situations with police officers, that don't understand a person who don't understand them. And so take it as a violent act, which is something that scares me all the time. When I think about Kingston, especially being a Black boy, growing into a Black autistic man is very, very scary. So awareness is extremely important.
It's Cafe Mocha on the line. Selena Johnson. Her new single is called Black Balloon and Monsters in the Closet. What advice, Selena, do you give mothers like to really pay attention to their children if they notice something? Do you know any of maybe the signs of autism?
All children are different, but I know my son, I can share some of the things that he was doing. He wasn't verbal until he was like 3 years old. So being regressed in speech, moms will know that because we go to our doctor's appointments with our family, their pediatrician, and there are milestones that they're supposed to meet. That's the whole point of their milestone chart. So if they're behind in speaking, sometimes that's an issue. Although that doesn't mean that. Sometimes it could be an ear infection, they need to, whatever. But the speaking, my son was in class, he couldn't sit still, and he constantly rocked back and forth. He walked on his tippy toes, and he was obsessed with one particular thing. Puzzles. He wanted to just do puzzles, once children are on the spectrum, I know my son and a lot of his friends, once they lock in on one thing, that's it. The dedication that they have is off the chain. I wish I had. But yeah, and just my son had to go through extensive ABA therapy, which is applied behavioral therapy, because he would throw these massive tantrums, massive. But what triggered me was he was not talking. And so I took him to the Marcus Institute, and he was a 2, and they were like, oh, he's too young to diagnose. But then I took him to a developmental pediatrician, and she that's another thing. Take your child to a developmental pediatrician if you have any suspicion, because a regular pediatrician may not catch those signs. And if they're a good pediatrician, they'll tell you to go to a developmental pediatrician, in which, I know the state of Georgia did not cover. Insurances do not cover. That's the problem right now. They do not cover applied behavioral therapy. They do not cover that. They do not cover occupational therapy unless your child has an IEP registered in the state, which maybe parents don't want that. You know what I'm saying? They do not cover speech therapy unless you have an IEP. They do that with an IEP. But you can fight for rights. You just have to really fight for your rights. You have parent rights, and they'll give you a whole pamphlet of what they are. And if you should read them, go over them, study them, know them, and, fight for them. But yeah, it was little things like that I would say to look for. But the biggest thing I would tell moms is to not, and I'm in therapy behind this, do not blame yourself. It is not your fault. You didn't do it to your child. And I know when your child is diagnosed with something that you can't understand how or why they got it, it makes you feel like you can't protect them. And that is the biggest pain, to not be able to protect your child from something. That's real tough, as a mom. But not to beat yourself up behind that. If you work, try not to have parent guilt there. Your child cannot thrive without you making money to take care of them if you have no other means. And to take it easy on yourself. Make sure that as much as you're loving on them, because that's what will happen when you get that diagnosis, you're going to go overdrive. A good mother's going to, hit the ground running to try to get all the therapies and everything that she possibly can for the baby, for your child. But make sure you don't miss taking care of yourself.
Definitely.
That was a big thing for me. I did not take care of myself. I could care less what was going on with me. My sole focus was him. And I have a whole nother son. So that was a big mistake, even though, I was able to pour into both of them, but it was really a Kingston fest in the beginning. And I had to be mindful too of how that made him feel.
Right.
And I'm married. So I had to also be mindful that this didn't happen to me. This is something that we all, my son, my other son, my oldest son, and my mom, my husband, my entire family, everyone who cares about, Kingston, it affected them all. And I had to understand that as well.
We really wish you the best. And we know this is going to be a great album, Legacy, dedicated to your father. Thank you for being
What up, music lovers? It's Claude Kelly.
What's up? It's Chuck Harmony.
And besides being two of the co-hosts of We Sound Crazy, we are also
Louis York, your favorite two-man band.
And the exciting news is we have a new album
streaming on all platforms. It's called Songs with Friends, and it features some of the best voices in the business.
Oh yes, I'm talking about Tamia,
Jessie J,
Layla Hathaway,
PJ Morton,
Gramps Morgan,
the Shindellas,
and so many more. Check out
Songs with Friends.
A great mother to both of your sons, a great wife, and you're just the epitome of what a beautiful Black queen is supposed to be, and we appreciate you.
Yes, and I love seeing
Oh my
you
God.
that.
Thank you
Love
so much.
that front porch freestyle. Yeah, you just really are so, really, that was beautiful, Loni. And she really is. Celine, everybody's loved you. Your soul that you put into your writing has really changed a lot of our lives, and we really do appreciate it.
Thank you, ladies, so much. And thank you for always having me on this amazing, positive, uplifting show. I've been on here for many years, and you guys know I'm just around the corner. You can always call me to talk about absolutely anything. And congratulations for still being a positive platform for women like me. So thank you so much.
Up next, October London.
We're at Cafe Mocha Radio. Socially savvy on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Serving up more Cafe Mocha on the way. Standing in solidarity from a woman's perspective. It's Cafe Mocha.
It's Cafe Mocha with Loni Love. Yo, I'm Angelique on the line. He had a #1 hit on the R&B charts for week after week after week. You know, back to your place. October London's on the line. Welcome to Cafe Mocha.
Hey, it's good to be here.
October, congratulations. This album that you've done, I mean, you did 2 albums last year. One was a Christmas album, but this Marvin Gaye remix was just, I mean, the rebirth of Marvin. When I say an awesome album, like it was just awesome. So congratulations on that album. What made you want to do an album dedicated to Marvin Gaye?
Well, you know, I grew up listening to Marvin Gaye when I was younger. You know, I'm 37 now, but I grew up listening to it in the back of my mom and dad's car. And you know, it's like, you know, all of us around this age, you know, just being at family gatherings, Thanksgivings, Christmases, all that kind of stuff. You know, I grew up listening to Marvin. I grew up listening to Frankie Beverly and Maze, and you know, the Ozzy Brothers, you know, one of my favorite groups of all time. And, you know, that's where I got that from. So, you know, I just wanted to pay homage to Marvin, you know, and to just old school vibes, old school music, you know, because without them, a lot of these artists wouldn't be making the songs that they're making now. And I don't think they pay enough homage to the old school artists like that. You know, some do, some don't though.
Talk about capturing that vibe and essence of Marvin Gaye, because I was riding in a car with my aunt and my mama. They like 70, 80 something years old. And they're like, oh, goodness. Now, come on. That sounds like some Marvin Gaye. How did you capture that? Because I don't feel like it's an easy thing to do. There are tributes, and then there's that feeling of, oh, wow. And that's what we got listening to your music. Like, oh, wow, this guy's killing it.
Yeah. I caught the vibe from, you know, at Snoop's studio, which he calls the Compound. You know, he plays music throughout the compound just consistently. He has his own little radio station and inside of the compound, and he plays music just throughout the day. And Marvin Gaye must have came on maybe 2 or 3 times. And I was in the studio just trying to gather a vibe where I was going with it. And all of a sudden, you know, that those few lyrics came out of my mouth, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, this might be it. You know, and I didn't notice at first, like, oh, well, I'm taking some of this Marvin vibe. I was just going, and I just kept going. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I didn't want to stop, but I never want to just take from Marvin, and I'm not trying to be him. I'm not trying to fill his shoes. That's the biggest, you know, thing. I don't want people to think that. I was just catching a vibe from him, so that's where that came from.
No, you just sound phenomenal.
Such a compliment.
It's Cafe Mocha on the line, singer-songwriter, October, London. His new album, The Rebirth of Marvin, it was released in 2023. He is now signed with Death Row Records. Let's talk about that with Snoop Dogg. I love that. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I met Snoop through legendary producer Jazzy Faye. Jazzy Faye, obviously everybody knows Jazzy Faye, especially down in the South in Atlanta. I was actually, well, here's the crazy part. I was actually about to be a truck driver. I was graduating truck driving school during this time. I had given up on the dream and everything of being, a musician and a singer. So that's one thing. And my friend of mine called me over and he was like, "Hey, I got a connection to Jazzy," and I got the number. And he was just like, "Yeah, text him. Just text him and just and tell him you have some records for some of his artists." And I did just that. And I knew it was pretty much a long shot, but I hit him up and he answered the text, which, I was very happy and excited to hear. And I was like, "Yo, Jazzy, I got some records for, some of your artists." And he was like, "Okay, cool. Just send them through." I had no idea that he was on his way to link with Snoop to work on some music. And he played it for Snoop. Snoop heard it, and he asked Jazzy, like, where I was from and all that. And Snoop was very surprised I was from Indiana. And, he called me the night before the Super Bowl and said he wanted to sign me. And by March 16, 2016, that was it.
Wow. I hear you say musician. You hardly hear anybody use that word anymore. I mean, do you play any instruments?
I play a little bit of piano. I can't really play, fluidly, but I could piece things together,
Definitely. I love that. And, because now you're signed with Death Row Records, you become the flagship of that. Can I just say, when I started in soul playing many moons ago, London, and, and Snoop Dogg was one of the most professional people that I ever met. I mean, he came to set. He knew his lines. He was not messing around. What is it like working with Snoop Dogg?
It's great, man. It really is a treat to work with him. He's very calm, cool, and collected, and one of the biggest reasons why I signed to Snoop is because he allowed me to have creative control. And artists don't get that. When they get signed, I mean, it's bad, like you have people that have never sold a record before in their life behind you telling you what's hot and what's not. They barely listen to any new music, and they're just on you consistently, and you can't be an artist. You can't be yourself. Right. And that's what Snoop Dogg allows me to be. Allows me to be myself. He allows me to be a multi-genre artist, which is one of the biggest factors for me, is that I get to jump around on genres if I want. Like, yeah, you got Rebirth of Marvin, and this next album, which I'm already done with, and it sounds incredible. It's crazy. It's got Rick James vibes to it, little hints of Bootsy Collins. It's got the Marvin vibe, but I have country also. I have country album that I'm working on under a different alias, under Sam Nash, my alter ego. And no label in the country or anywhere, so to speak, is going to allow an artist to jump around, because that's a death wish, pretty much. That's like, that's just, I don't know, it's too much. It's too much to handle marketing wise. And Snoop's like, "Nah, man, let's just do it." He's like, "No, just keep your country name under Sam Nash. That way you don't, confuse the consumer. And you can do that. Just be yourself." You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you go see October London, you're not going to get Sam Nash. But if you go see Sam Nash, don't expect The Rebirth of Marvin. Don't expect those songs. Maybe I might do a country rendition of Back to Your Place, but
Right.
We're talking to October London on Cafe Mocha. Speaking of country music, Beyonce released some country stuff. K. Michelle was trying to get into country music. And I wonder, has country been something that Black people have just wanted to do but been shut out of? Or is this a new wave, a new craze is happening? What do you think?
I think Black people have been doing country music, but they were just probably scared to put it out because they don't, I don't know. It's like, it's not, maybe they're just trying to take the safer bet. It's like, when Migos came out, everybody wanted to be Migos. Everybody was doing that type of thing, and some of these things are trends. So, but when it comes to country, a lot of Black people like country. When I was in Nashville touring, Nashville, and then a couple cities after that, they were asking me to do the country records that I have, because they already know I have an EP out called Six Shooter Sam on iTunes and Spotify. So they already knew those country songs. So, and that was it was just a lot of black people asking for that. Like, they were like, "Oh, you gonna do your country music tonight?" I'm like, no, honestly, I didn't even think you liked it like that. I didn't. He was like, "No, man, we love country." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then, in the midst of that, Beyonce drops this. So now it's like, I hope people don't think that I'm trying to follow in Beyonce's steps. I had already made the album in August of last year. So
let them know.
But I just think, yeah. So I'm not following her footsteps, but those footsteps are amazing to walk in. But yeah, I think black people are in the country a lot, and I think they've been in the country. They just didn't know that they had a voice in country, like they have a voice in rap and hip hop and R&B. But Beyonce has just shown that, hey, yeah, you can have a voice in it. But artists also have to know that is Beyonce. Beyonce could drop a lot of things that's, she could drop anything and it'll kind of go. So, tread lightly, but do your thing. If that's what you want to do, you want to do country, I think you could do it.
His latest album is The Rebirth of Marvin. We're talking to October London. More coming up on Cafe Mocha.
Here's your dose of espresso. Strong, hot news now.
This is the Espresso. It looks like Trump's insults against veterans is finally catching up with him. Vote Vets just released an ad, and here's part of it.
Losers and suckers, he called us. Refusing to be seen with wounded warriors because it makes him queasy. Refusing to salute the fallen of World War I because he, quote, doesn't understand what was in it for them.
Clarence Thomas has received over $4 million in gifts and trips since joining the Supreme Court. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said there should be rules.
It really boils down to impartiality. That's what the rules are about. People are entitled to know if you're accepting gifts as a judge so that they can evaluate whether or not your opinions are impartial.
Steph Curry's got a new TV show, Mr. Throwback. He actually stars in the sitcom.
The acting thing, it's been in my family. My wife is an actress, so I got some good training at home, and the show turned out great, so I'm super proud of it.
Check out Mr. Throwback on Peacock. That's the Espresso.
This is Cafe Mocha. Radio from a woman's perspective.
We call it Cafe Mocha with comedian Loni Love, hip-hop legend Yo-Yo, and longtime radio personality Angelique. We're talking to R&B singer October London. Lonnie, go ahead.
I want to talk about this alter ego, Sam Nash. Where did he come from? What is he about?
Who's this guy?
Sam Nash. So Sam, my middle name is Samuel, so that's where Sam came from. And then Nash came from Nashville, and I've traveled to Nashville a few times, and the food is just freaking amazing. So I was like, I'm gonna call myself Sam Nash. So that's where the name came from. But doing country, I've been wanting to do country since I've been wanting to do country since 2009 because I moved to Texarkana, Texas, and I have some friends that are in the we're talking oil money, those type of guys, man. I hang out with them every single day and just see what they're doing. And I was like, man, I need to do country music for these guys. And I did it, and they loved it. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to keep doing this under that alias. I just never put it out like that. And now I'm about to drop a huge, huge single called Proud to be American via Sam Nash.
I can't wait for it. It's Cafe Mocha on the line. October London, singer-songwriter. This is the thing, too. You have a whiskey brand and a cigar deal. Can we talk about that? I like whiskey. I always drink a certain whiskey when I'm out and about, but I'm actually in the process of actually coming out with my own bourbon. So it's coming. Before this call, I was actually in a meeting with my business partner. So we're getting it done that way, because I do a show and I come out with the cigar and I come out with the whiskey or the bourbon. And, I always tell everybody, hey, go tip your waitresses, drink with me. And like, the last, 3 or 4 shows in a row, I was like, they were asking me, what am I drinking? Somebody in the audience asked. And then I was like, I'm drinking Woodford. And they ran completely out of Woodford. They drank that stuff up. And they did that for 3 shows after that. And I was like, it might be time to do that. It might be time to drop something. And then I'm not going to give the name or anything yet. We're in the process of getting it all together. And then as far as the cigar brand I'm doing, it's not my brand. I'm actually signing with a company, with Placencia Cigars. So actually, you guys just got that first. I haven't even said anything about it. So, thank you.
The Rebirth of Marvin is his latest full-length album. He also put out an EP last year called the R&B Masterclass. Both are available on Spotify or wherever you listen to music.
Want a little more of our flavor? Stay right there. It's Cafe Mocha.
We call it Cafe Mocha with comedian Loni Love, hip-hop legend Yo-Yo, and longtime radio personality Angelique. We're talking to R&B singer October London. Where were we?
I know this is a little off, but did I read somewhere that you don't believe in marriage?
I don't believe. Yeah, you did. You heard it. Yeah, that was.
I'm with
Let's talk about that.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, I've been married before, and it was a great marriage. I love my ex-wife to death. She's a best friend to me, and we just have a great bond and a great relationship. And when we divorced, she was like, a couple people were like, "Oh man, you about to get hit for half." Eddie Murphy, half Eddie. All that kind of thing. And she's just not that kind of girl. She's a great person. And she was just like, I would never do that to you. And she didn't. I don't have any child support. I don't pay child support. She was like, you're an outstanding father and a great provider. You just suck at Netflix and chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like when she got pregnant, I kind of left the marriage, not to go be with anybody else, but I left the marriage because I was like, just emotionally, she needed that emotional support. And I was like, no, I gotta go out. I gotta work. I gotta get this money because, I want to be the best father I can be. I want my son to have everything. I gotta go hard. I want him to go to the best schools. I want him to have the best stuff. I want him to, and she was just like, hey, I'm here too. And I started traveling and, I just left, but, like I said, we still have a great relationship. And, I just don't think that, I don't think I'll ever get married again because I don't feel like it's necessary like that. I feel like, two people can be together without getting married and have a great relationship. It's like if I'm laying up with you today and going to the store with you today and going to see your mom and going to Thanksgiving today and all that, and then tomorrow put a ring on it, is it going to be any different? No, I'm still going to go and do the same things I was doing. So it's more like it's more of a showpiece. I'll put a ring on it, but I just don't want to do all that walking down the aisle stuff and just so much stress and drama and do this for this person and feeding people, at a wedding that you barely even know like that. They got invited, but it's just like, even thinking about it starting to stress me out.
I know. I feel you, October. I tell these heifers all the time, I do not want to be married. And they just be like, no, you got to be in love. But I get it. October, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's do this again.
And congratulations.
Definitely.
Yes.
It's Cafe Mocha. Just a reminder to make sure you are still registered to vote, because you could show up at your polling place and they tell you are no longer registered. Those are the kind of stunts they're trying to pull in red states. Anyway, go to whenweallvote.org for all the information you need to get ready for Tuesday, November 5th. That's the show. You can find us on all platforms at Cafe Mocha Radio. Cafe Mocha is a production of Miles Ahead Broadcasting in partnership with Super Radio. Executive producer Sheila Eldridge. For comments, booking, or more information, visit cafemocharadio.com.